It might be a peach Dole Whip kind of experience where like it ends up being the most marvelous thing I've ever put in my mouth, food wise.
There's our opener. There's our opener.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to the Grim Grinning Dads, the show where three Disney-loving dads talk all things Disney, giving you tips, tricks, and a whole lot more. If you have not already, we ask that you would please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Honestly, it's the greatest thing you can do, not only to help us out, but also help us reach more people and share our love for all things Disney with all of you people who love Disney as well. All three of us are travel advisors that specialize in Disney vacations. Everything we talk about is 100% our own experiences and our own opinions. We understand that what might work for us might not work for you and might not be the best option for you, but we treat every vacation as if it's our own. If you would like us to help, send us a message, fill out the form in the link below. In today's episode, we're going to do a deep dive on the Walt Disney World Value Resort hotels. But first, some news items. It was a slow news week. Tyler, start us off with your news item.
Yeah, I think in a week of not a lot of big news, this is kind of a big story because it's going to be a major change to transportation getting around Walt Disney World. So becoming permanent after July 4th, you will no longer be able to park for free at Disney Springs and take a bus to connect at a resort to then go to a park. So it looks like they've been kind of testing this out. They've had cast members around the bus stations at Disney Springs checking for like magic bands and tickets. So yeah, I mean, they're just really cracking down on any kind of loophole. I know we've touched on this before in I think it was our Don't Be That Guy episode, but don't look for those loopholes around Disney. Just try to do things the right way. So yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of sad in a way that they have to do this because that just means a lot of people are really taking advantage of it. But, you know, if you really want to avoid paying for parking, like you could park somewhere off site and then just take an Uber to the park. You know, that could be a workaround as well. I mean, the only one that doesn't really get you super close to is Magic Kingdom because they'll take you to the TTC, but then, you know, just hop on the monorail and you're right there. So I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, to me, like it's not going to change really how I get around because, you know, of course, when I'm out there, I'm always a resort guest pretty much. So, but I think it's a lot of like the, you know, locals or people who are within driving distance to Disney World that are probably abusing this the most.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that people would be that guy, right? Like we talked about it. And because people are that guy, they've gone and ruined an experience for some other people. And it's just not cool. Exploiting loopholes causes big problems. I don't like it.
Yeah, now I was just looking at, there's a couple of points to make here. So there's, so to clear the verification checkpoint at Disney Springs, you will need at least one of the following: an active Disney World Resort hotel reservation, a confirmed dining reservation at a Disney Resort hotel, or a confirmed resort recreation activity booking, such as a boat cruise. So, you know, and it's kind of worded in a way where it's like, okay, if I have a hotel reservation, could I board a bus to a different hotel? I think it's kind of up in the air. I don't know if they're going to force you to board only a specific one, but yeah, we'll see how much they crack down on this and how people argue with it and try to get around it, because I'm sure they will.
Yeah, and it really kind of sucks too. I'm just thinking about this resort hopping, right? Like that's,
yeah.
I know that's a big deal, especially around the holidays. Like people will go to Disney Springs, do their shopping, and then they'll say, oh, but let's go look at, you know, the tree at Animal Kingdom Lodge, right? Or let's go for Easter, let's go to the Grand Floridian, not staying there, but let's go there and look at the Easter eggs. Like all those things. I wonder what they're going to do.
Well, the resorts that I feel like it's going to hurt the most are the ones that are only connected by bus. Because, you know, if you get to any of the monorail resorts, then you can just hop around, or you could even jump on the water taxi to go to Wilderness Lodge if you needed to, or go to any of the Skyliner resorts and you'll still be able to hop around to those. But like Coronado, Animal Kingdom Lodge, like those, I feel like the Animal Kingdom Lodge, like it's become a destination. I know for us, you know, because of Sanaa. So like that makes it harder to get out there. It's basically have to Uber out there. It sounds like if you need to get there.
Yeah. Well,
mean,
unless
I
you have
think
the
you could
dining
still-
reservation, you would be able to get
If
there.
you have the dining
Right.
reservation, but you have to wait till you're within that 2-hour window. So it's not like you're going to go and
Enjoy the resort.
you can't just like spend all day there.
But like
Right.
the lounge.
But what would
though.
you do all day there?
Well, maybe not all day, but you could
The
kill a
lounge.
couple hours there, hang out, watch the savannah,
I was just saying
have a drink at one of the lounges. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would.
Yeah, I don't love that. Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I've done similar things, but
I
again,
don't love that.
I'm not one of the. I'm not one of the people that would fall into this category because I would always have a resort reservation.
Mhm.
I think like an on-site resort reservation because that's what I do when I go to Disney. But I feel like I think it's going to hit the hardest with those folks that are local, like you said. And I mean, I don't know. I hope that the rules, if you have any of those three things, that the rules behind it aren't like super stringent, because that could cause a bunch of headaches. Because what if I did want to go? Okay, I'm a an all-star, which we'll be talking about in a minute. I'm an all-star resort guest, but I want to go to dinner at Coronado. Like, can I do that? Can I, are they going to double check me and be like, are you a guest at the Coronado? Or like maybe if I don't have a reservation, but I want to go there, just like walk up, like we talked about Steakhouse 71, like walking up, like there was walk up ability when we went over to the Polynesian, and that potentially could be something that you would do, but not with a reservation.
Guys, we're back. It has been a couple days. We had some technical difficulties, bad storms rolling through. Yeah, so that's why we're in different clothes, different locations. Charlie's on the road, and yeah,
I'm parked. I'm not on the road.
Kind of living it up now. Well, okay, fine.
Charlie's so skilled. He's doing this while driving.
he's in the parking lot. But yeah, so that was it for the news. What we're going to do now is we're going to get into our main topic of the show, and that is a deep dive on the value resorts at Walt Disney World. Now, there are only 5 of these, and I want to start in the most congregated area, and that is the All-Star resorts. We've got All-Star Music, All-Star Sports, and All-Star Movies. Guys, of those 3, I want to know your guys' thoughts. Which one of those do you think is the most popular?
It's a good question. Probably movies, because I think it would have the most recognizable stuff to people.
Yeah, the Big Woody, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Big
Yeah, I would
Dalmatian,
100%
stuff
agree.
like that. Yeah.
I think the
Go.
theming of the other two is just not as on par with Disney as the movies resort. So I think definitely the movies is the most popular.
Yeah, so the All-Star resorts are kind of tucked back over by Animal Kingdom. They're kind of hidden. They're also very popular for big groups, sporting groups like cheerleading, gymnastics, baseball teams, people that are going to and from ESPN Worldwide or Wide World of Sports. My goodness. But the really cool thing about the All-Star resorts is that there is a McDonald's just up the road. And that's really like the resort restaurant
Yeah.
of that area. They don't have anything fancy like any of the moderate resorts do, or definitely the deluxe resorts. But yeah, they're tucked back in the Animal Kingdom area. What were you gonna say there, Tyler?
Well, I think there's not that much to differentiate the 3 of them outside of the theming, but I think the one thing I would point out that I do think gets overlooked are the family suites at All-Star Music, as a less expensive alternative to the suites at Art of Animation, because they're more or less the same footprint, just minus the theming. So if you have a group of like 5 or 6 people, you don't want to do 2 rooms elsewhere, and you're okay with the bus transportation, then I think that can be a decent price point, because a lot of times they're going to be a couple $100 less per night than the same kind of suite at Art of Animation.
For sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's definitely overlooked as well. I think that having that same footprint. I mean, we were able to fit. Let's see, how many full-grown adults? 2, 4, 5. We probably could have fit 6.
5 of us.
Yeah, we could have fit 6. I think there could have been one other person in that bed, and it would have been okay. So those are definitely a good value option. And that's how we made it kind of affordable for all of us to go. It made sense to just kind of do it that way when we went for our trip, because we were spending so much money on holiday tickets.
we
Yeah, for
did
sure.
do that. We did do that.
Yeah,
but
I mean, and I think it'd be important to point out, like, they all have a food court, which are going to have similar food options. They all, like, the room types, with the exception of those suites, are the same. So then it's really just about location. So you got standard or preferred location. And then the pools, of course, are going to be a little bit differently themed for each one. But one thing that's kind of unique with these resorts is that you can pool hop. If you're staying at any of the All-Stars, you can use any of the All-Star pools. I don't think you can say that anywhere else on property. Because I know Yacht and
Beach
Beach
and
Club
yacht.
share a pool,
Right.
but yeah, that's the same pool. So they're sharing it, so you're not really pool hopping. But I don't think anywhere else can you go to a different resort's pool. So that is kind of cool if you just want some different options, or maybe you're staying at movies and it's really crowded, so you hop over to music and it's less crowded just for a pool day. That's not a bad option.
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of read an overview on the All Stars here quick. So, All Star Movies is you're stepping right into the Renaissance era of Disney, no, the first Renaissance era of Disney. Right, so like you've got the giant Dalmatians, the giant Woody. The pool is themed to Fantasia. It's got the world premiere food court. You've got movies under the stars. It's very much that early 90s feel to the thing, right? You got Toy Story, you got all those things. But like on the inside of the room, it's very, very minimal theming. They're not crazy painting or pictures on the walls, nothing like that. And then when you go to the All-Star Music Resort, it's got a guitar-shaped pool. The food court is called Intermission Food Court. Music has the family suites that we were talking about, so you will have that ability to do larger groups there at the All-Star Music Resort. And then at the All-Star Sports Resort, it is very much sports themed. You get giant football helmets, giant foosball, which I think is supposed to be like a giant soccer field. I don't know. But the pool is got a surfboard motif, end zone food court, and that's really about it. Like you were saying, you can hop between the pools at the different resorts. But All Star Music is the only one with those family suites. They're tucked away back behind Animal Kingdom. You do have McDonald's up the road, if that is your thing. Now, I will say this about that McDonald's, because I've done it before. At the end of the night, that place is packed.
Oh yeah.
Like, it is always packed. And I've never stayed at any of the All-Star resorts. I've been there, like I've toured them. But the number one complaint that I hear about people, or from people about these resorts, is that they always have a lot of families and a lot of kids running around. It's very loud because of that. And they just feel packed. But that's kind of what you're getting. These are the perfect places to go if your whole mantra on resorts is, I just go there to sleep in a bed.
Yeah.
Like that's what this place is supposed to be like, if I'm accurate. So Charlie, what's up?
So yeah, agreed. I think that one of the major complaints that I've heard is that the walls are paper thin. And you hear, if there is anything happening outside of your room, you will hear absolutely everything that's happening. So if you're working with a travel planner or if you're planning your trip yourself, you should definitely avoid the cheering competition, the dance competition, any of the sporting competitions that are down there if you are really trying to get any sort of sleep outside of your 17,000 steps at the parks during the day.
Shoot, 17,000. That's all.
Small
Yeah.
feet.
Well, and I think the last point that I would make about the All-Stars, at least for now, I know we're going to get into like, best value and all of that, but price-wise, these are often less, like, and I'm talking about like the standard rooms, are often less than any of the Disney Springs resort options. So a lot of people assume they want to look there first because they think it's going to be less than a Disney resort. But if it's purely about price, the All-Stars can get you in at a lower price, especially when there's promos going on. And then you get all the other advantages. You get the better transportation, you get early entry and stuff like that. So I've seen so many clients like default to like, oh, I just want to look at like the, Holiday Inn Disney Springs or whatever. But it's like, no, like we can actually beat that at All-Star, and you're closer to certain parks and you get these other perks with it. So I think the value for money is there, like you said, Caleb, for the right client. If you're really just looking for that place to crash and you want the on-property perks, it can be a great choice.
100%. And the difference between that, right? Like the Disney Springs resorts, like you can take a bus to the parks, but like let's say you're going to Magic Kingdom, they're going to drop you off at the TTC. The bus at the All-Stars, they're going to drop you right off at the gate to Magic Kingdom. Right, you're going to bypass the TTC altogether. So,
and those buses are going to run more often than the resort shuttles.
Correct, and it's just an overall better experience. And if you're money conscious, like staying at the All-Stars is probably going to be within the range that you're looking for anyway. So, but we'll get into all that stuff in a little bit here because I want to move on to one of my favorite resorts, and that is Disney's Pop Century Resort. Now, I think I can speak for all three of us that we love Pop Century with everything that we've got because it's got a couple things. One, it's got the Skyliner. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Like you got Skyliner transportation to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. You got all the different types of pools in the different areas and decades. The everything pop. Shopping and dining experience. The food court there is actually really good after the remodel. Like that,
I feel like it's a noticeable
awesome.
step up from the All-Stars options.
Yeah, it doesn't have an on-site restaurant like the Moderates or the Deluxes do, or just same as the All-Stars. But you do have the Skyliner. So if you wanted to, you could easily traverse to the Riviera or Beach and Yacht Club. Like you have so much more access to things with that Skyliner there. The rooms there have all been renovated and redone. I just stayed there last, what was that, October, and it was beautiful. It was quiet. I didn't have any of the running around, and I was there for a Run Disney event, so like that was wild. But like Pop Century was just a nice, clean escape. I was able to go to Beaches and Cream at Beach and Yacht Club because like that's what you do. Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on Pop Century?
Charlie.
Okay. I didn't know where I was in terms of being caught up to you guys. I think having access to Boardwalk is also something to talk about with the amount of different options there for food, and one of my favorite places on property to get some food all together. I think the convenience of the Skyliner is like next to none, and I love the theming, the 1950s to 1990s theming of Pop Century. Like it's just fantastic, and like there's just little details throughout the entire resort that just make it stand out for me. And it screams Disney bubble with the types of nostalgic stuff that they have on property. So I absolutely love Pop Century.
Yeah, it's. I mean, no spoilers here. I think we've talked about it before, but it's my favorite of the values. The theming is great. The lobby is awesome. Their gift shop is actually really, really good size and typically very well stocked, which I always appreciate. And yeah, the Skyliner, it's just it makes that value so much better. There's a pretty clear dividing line. I feel like pop and art are almost like their own little mini category, but like Disney doesn't want to do that. But it's almost like it's value plus, and they're priced accordingly, because you usually have about a $50 to $80 a night difference going from the All Stars to pop usually. But I think it's worth it. I mean, of course, it depends on the type of trip, but it's hard to put a price on the Skyliner and how convenient it is. Only potential downside is if you're at a standard room, it can be a pretty good walk to the Skyliner station, but you're also saving a whole lot of money versus other options.
Right. And when I stayed there, we were back in like the 90s section. So
Well,
like
you're way down there, yeah.
we're way down there. And like even that walk to the Skyliner wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't horrible. It was a trek, don't get me wrong, but like it wasn't bad. So it's not Caribbean Beach large and that, but like it's still
Sure.
a walk. You still gotta
Yeah, it's
you still gotta
it's
move.
not internal bus loop large, but
Right.
it's a good walk. And then a lot of people also freak out when they see the line for the Skyliner in the morning, but it moves super fast. Like it's never that bad.
Right, because the Skyliner's always moving. It never stops. Well, that's not true. It does stop when you're getting like the ADA gondola on, but outside of that, like it's just pause for a couple seconds and it's going again. So just keep in mind the thing about Pop Century is it does have that value plus, like you're saying, Tyler. It is value plus. So like you do get a few more amenities. You do get the better transportation, things like that, better location overall. If you're in the right room or in the right spot, you can see Epcot fireworks, which is cool. And Hollywood Studio fireworks, which is cool. But that right across Hourglass Lake there is our fifth and final value resort, and that is Disney's Art of Animation Resort. So again, this is on the Skyliner, just like Pop Century, because it's right across the lake. They share that station. This by itself with the family suites feels like it's a value plus and getting into moderate for pricing.
Yeah.
Without the moderate amenities, if that makes sense. Because like you still don't have an on-site restaurant. You don't have that, but you do have the like the food court that's there. It does have the big blue pool, which is Finding Nemo themed, which is neat. You do have Finding Nemo rooms, Lion King rooms, Cars rooms, and then those are all family suites. And then you do have Little Mermaid standard rooms, which are kind of off in the far distance. That's a walk.
That's a walk, yeah.
That's a walk.
Yeah.
But I mean, outside of that, like you still have the Skyliner, so you can get to Riviera if you want to, Caribbean Beach, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, Boardwalk, Beach Club, Yacht Club. But the biggest thing about Art of Animation is those family suites. So like you're gonna sleep 6 adults, mostly comfortable. Like
Yeah,
mostly comfortable. But the beds are double beds. They're not queens. So that is something to keep in mind as well.
Is the main bed in the like the master bedroom? That's also a double. It's not a queen.
So in the master, it is a queen size bed. So like in the room itself, and then it's 2 doubles.
Yeah.
So like, got to keep that in mind. Double beds outside of the room, queen size bed in the room. It does have the 2 bathrooms. You do have a
like a family, like mom, dad, and like 3 or 4 kids. That's no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
6 adults, it might be a little tight, but
that's why I said mostly.
You make it work.
Mostly comfortable. Yeah. You don't get a full kitchen. You get a little like kitchenette area. You get an actual mini fridge, which is cool, not just a beverage cooler. You do get an upgraded coffee maker, whatever that means. and I think a microwave. There was a microwave in there, right?
Yes, there
Yes.
was in our family suite. Yeah,
Yeah,
there was.
we had a microwave. So
We didn't use it, but we had it.
we did have it. No, we did not. We did not. Was that the time that we had the African Mai Tais?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
and we
You can go
recorded right
find it.
after that.
Yeah. If you're not following us at all, you should. And you can go back on our YouTube page and go find the episode that we recorded with Tyler on several African Mai Tais.
Yep.
It is there. You can go watch it. It's pure
that's
chaos.
a thing.
That is
It
the
was
thing.
well, the first attempt at starting that episode never made it to the recording. Thankfully, you had to jump in and rescue us because we never would have gotten it done had it been up to me.
Yeah. Yep. That was a thing. That was a thing. But it was a good time.
It was a
might
good
do
time.
it again. Might do it again.
Might have to do it again. I think what I would say about art, I do like the resort. It's definitely, the theming gets a lot of the attention and rightfully so. I think for somebody who, especially with younger kids, it catches a lot of attention. You have the same convenience like we mentioned with Pop Century, but I get hung up on the price a little bit because I just don't know that you're justifying the price increase. And I'm talking about for the standard room. Like for the family suites, I get it because you're getting a lot more space, you're getting some more amenities in the room. But a standard room there versus a standard room at Pop, like I don't see why it's more at Art personally. And a little aside, I kind of wish, I get why they didn't, but I kind of wish, because originally what is now Art of Animation was supposed to be like part 2 of Pop Century, where it was supposed to be what they were going to call the golden years, which says the 1910s through the 1940s. That's why the buildings are all exactly the same shape. They were just going to add different theming to each wing. And that got put on hold after 9/11, I believe, is when that got put on hold and they came back to it later on. And I'm sure it's more popular now than it would have been with the older decades. But part of me just wants to see what would have happened with that. Just knowing kind of what Disney was doing back then, I think it would have been pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Charlie, do you have some?
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of Art of Animation, I think that one of the biggest things, I mean, if I'm comparing Art of Animation to Pop Century, and I'm now looking at the suites, and I'm looking to get any of the discounted rates that potentially could be coming out, I might miss out on some of that because it doesn't seem like the Little Mermaid standard rooms go on those discounts that often, if at all. So that's kind of a big
really.
miss.
And if they do, it's
for
such
them.
a low quantity that they're gone super fast.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Which is why you never get to see them. So I totally, again, given the choice between the two at the same price, I mean, Art of Animation's theming, I do love their theming, and they do get a lot of credit for it. But I'm not sure that that's worth that extra, the extra price, especially if the Little Mermaid rooms are all sold out, because what are you going to do?
Right. Yeah. Whenever I'm talking to a client and Art of Animation comes up, or I'm talking to a client, talking to a family or friends or whoever that's asking my opinion on going to on a Disney vacation, I always ask them, how deep into Disney do you want to go? Because if it's a family of 5 or 4 or whatever, and they're at all like, I want to go deep into the theming, I want to be engulfed in Disney theme. I want my room to have Disney. I want it to scream in my face. I'm gonna be like, Art of Animation's where you're going. Like, and that's might be why it costs so much, because it is scream in your face Disney.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
from the moment you walk in.
Yeah, I think that's right. And then I would always kind of compare it to Pop Century, where there is some over the top theming, but it's not all strictly Disney. So it's more kind of generic pop culture, which I also enjoy. And you're, like you mentioned, you're right across the lake, so you can still go experience some of the theming. It's just a short walk, so it's not bad.
Yeah. So that's really the the big sell about art of animation. Like even the pools are themed ridiculous, right? Like you got the big blue pool. Over in Cars, it's what the cozy cone pool, and I don't know if Lion King has a pool,
I don't think Lion King does.
but I know Little Mermaid has a quiet pool.
Yep.
And I think it's just a Little Mermaid pool, but that's kind of what it is. Like they go all out in the theming, and it's kind of cool. Like it's fun to experience. It's fun to walk around and see what's going on, but just know that that's going to be a factor in whether or not you're going to enjoy it or not. So those are the 5 value resorts. You got All-Star Movies, All-Star Sports, All-Stars Music, Pop Century, Art of Animation. So now I wanted to break this down into a best of, right? Like we've got 8 different categories on the best of. So the first one I'm going to start off there with, what is the cheapest of the 5 resorts? And I did some homework on this one. I did some looking and Googling, and same time frame, same dates, check in, check out, right? All the exact same. Lowest time of the year too. I went and found the lowest time of the year. Absolutely. And what I found was All-Star Sports was the absolute lowest cost of the 5. So, it kind of makes sense though, right? Like it's not Disney themed, it's sports themed, it's very out there. So there's that. But I want to know from you guys. So cheapest resort, All-Star Sports, but of your guys' opinion, I want to know, what is the best overall value?
Go ahead, Charlie, if you're
All
with
right,
us.
hopefully you guys can hear me on this one. The best overall value for me is the Pop Century. I think it occupies the perfect kind of middle ground, and you get the updated rooms, the Skyliner access without paying the premium rates of Art of Animation.
Yep, I would second that. It's yeah. Overall value is Pop for sure.
Yeah. With the Skyliner, like you said, Charlie, the new food court, newly renovated, the hippy dippy pools, awesome. Yeah, it's just overall value, hands down, Pop Century. What do you guys think has the best theming of the 5?
My personal taste would be Pop Century, but it's hard to argue with Art of Animation.
Yep, I would second Art of Animation as well.
Second. I would second Art of Animation. It's interesting that you said Pop Century. that. I was like, huh. Okay. I mean, I get it. It is charming.
And again, like I'm obviously a huge Disney fan, hence doing this podcast. But I just think it's cool when they do something a little bit outside the box. And I liked how in the lobby they used to have those big like shadow boxes with all the different like memorabilia and stuff. That's not necessarily Disney related, but just like cool little artifacts from each decade, and they don't have that anymore. But there's still little touches of that stuff all around. So I enjoy that. Like Disney can make nods to things that's not necessarily just their own stuff.
Right. Now, Pop Century does have a few Disney characters scattered around it, right? So like you still do have, what is it, Lady and the Tramp? There's a Mickey phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Baloo and Mowgli. And then I think Roger Rabbit?
Maybe in the 80s section.
No, in the 90s.
Maybe the car from Roger Rabbit is in
like
there.
1990.
I think he's in the 90s. Yeah, right across from the Walkman.
What was that, Charlie?
Good God. I think that the car from Roger Rabbit is on property there. I'm going to turn off my camera, and you guys, we can just put up let's see if this helps. Can you guys hear me now?
So,
is this everything
Pop
better?
Century and Art of Animation are definitely the 2 that I'm the most favorite of. Let's go best for families, 5 or 6 people.
I mean, it's got to be, it's going to come down to budget. So you're either going to do all-star music or art of animation for a family suite. So yeah, and you're probably looking at about a $200-ish per night difference. So then you just have to figure, is $200 a night worth the Skyliner?
And then what about well, I guess yeah, music is the only one with the family suite. So I was gonna say what about sports, but yeah, sports doesn't have it. So never mind. What about you, Charlie?
Yeah, I would agree. I would say that it comes down to budget and whether or not you need to have the Skyliner if you're going to go to either one of those two suites.
I'm gonna say hands down art of animation. Like
Okay.
it's just an overall better experience. And Skyliner makes the difference. So if I'm making if it comes down to, families asking the question like I want to have the best experience, the first thing I'm going to show them is art of animation. It just because of the overall value of
And it would purely
you
be a
get.
budget reason if you
Correct.
went to All-Star instead.
Right. Dogs. Let's I wanna do just one more here. What is the best first time Disney resort of these 5?
That's a loaded question because it really depends. Like, if it's a whole family, then probably art of animation because you're going to really feel like you're fully immersed in the bubble. But I wouldn't want a family to stay in a standard room at art because then you're not getting a really great experience. So, but it's got to be art or pop.
Charlie, what about for you?
And none of this audio is going to come through for you guys, but I think that the question was best for first timers.
It is.
Was that the
Yeah.
question? Because I didn't hear. Well, because it didn't come. The audio didn't come through for me. Best for first timers, I think art of animation for sure. The larger than life characters, the big blue pool, it just screams we are at Disney, and that's something that I kind of seek out every time that I go to Disney is being immersed in the Disney experience. Which again, Pop Century will give you that too, but art of animation screams it at you and like punches you in the face with Disney nostalgia.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Pop Century. Just because just thinking overall price, experience, transportation, food options, Pop Century is that nice middle ground. So that's for me anyway. So best overall, I would say Pop Century. But again, all of that is completely our opinion based on our own experiences, and that can all very much differ depending on you and what you're wanting. So, if you have any questions at all about what sort of resort might work for you, what a Disney vacation might look like for you, one, work with a travel advisor, work with somebody that's been there, knows what they're doing, what they're talking about, has experienced it themselves, and is willing to walk alongside you with it and help you pick the right spot for you. Um, and all these value resorts that we talked about, I know I've only ever stayed at Art of Animation and Pop Century. I've never stayed at the All Stars. I've just toured them. I don't think any of you have you guys stayed at any of the All Stars?
It's been years, but I have, yeah.
Okay, Charlie.
Yep, I've stayed at all 3 of them over the years. Just
Okay,
in terms of
cool.
getting into the value. So yeah, I mean they're so similar
Yeah.
that it's really really hard to even differentiate between them.
Yeah. So we've been there, we've experienced them, we've been through it all. If you would like to have one of us help you out, fill out the link in the show notes below. We'd love to help you out. But outside of that, man, that wraps up another episode of the Grim Grinning Dads. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, follow, join us on YouTube. We'd love to have you over there. It's also one of the best ways that you can help us out. It means absolutely the world right now. Be sure to follow us on the social medias, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, the TikToks, We're on all of them. I know I'm active on TikTok on both my personal and this one, our podcast one. So join us there. If you ever see us pop up, say hi. But yeah, that is a whole experience with the value resorts. Be sure to join us the next time the dads come out to socialize.